want to bring in now my friend and colleague Paul Murray. He was watching that interview as well. Fox News, wow, Kamala Harris sitting down with Brett Baier. Well, there were fireworks. They did speak over each other for a lot of the interview, but Paul, we were talking about the strategy of doing this. She's not going to convince, I don't think, many people or any people that watch Fox News to vote Democrat, particularly in the swing states. Maybe that does happen. But the point is, it seems like a weird thing to say, but she was doing this Fox interview for her base.
100%. The spin out of those that were cheering her on is, look, here she is taking on the tough questions. The central problem with that is that she hasn't had that experience as the Vice President for most of the past 4 years. Yeah. And in this campaign, this is the toughest chat thus far that should have happened much earlier in her rollout as a candidate. Remember, the plan was joy, vibes, videos, then it was into rallies, then it was into the DNC, then it was into the debate, and then it was into, think of the priorities list, right? Then it was Oprah, then it was Howard Stern, then it was... So yes, this was a ticking of the box to say, oh, look, I had to eat my vegetables, but I've got to say, the conversation had all of the warmth and charm of what I would imagine is the discomfort of mediation during a divorce, because it felt like she hated being there. She did not want to be there, right? She's talking to the enemy. She's talking to the enemy watching it, talking to her, and she had an opportunity that, yes, while she was there to show I'm a girl boss and all the rest of it, back in her world. Her world's already voting for her. For those that will see the clips, somewhere between those that are never going to vote for her and those that are going to vote for her, they're going to work out, is there a president in there? And I'm not entirely sure that they saw a president in there.
But this is not an interview.
I
don't think this interview is going for those independent voters. 3 weeks after an election, they're both going for their base. You've got Trump and Kamala going for their base. So you're right. They use the clips to turn around and say, look, base... she turns up for the tough interviews. She's copying it from the media. Turn out on election day and make sure Trump doesn't become president. The other thing you've got here is, I think, what has probably the biggest downside of this interview, if you agree with me here, is that the comparison
I always
between...
do.
No, we respectfully debate different elements. The comparison between her and Trump. Kamala is a career politician. This turning the page rubbish from the presidency, I don't think that convinces anyone, not even the Democrats there. But it shows that she's so heavily managed that she can't get out of the lines and the lines that are told to her by her team. And the comparison between her and Trump, well, I think voters give him a lot more leeway because of his authenticity, because he's not guided by a focus group or a team of people telling him what to say.
Well, also, at its very heart, right, why does somebody do an interview, right? They either do an interview to get to the audience, or they do an interview in the political world because somebody says, oh, you've got to go and talk to Laura on Sky,
or
right?
They should be doing it because they believe in something. They want to prosecute an argument and convince people of their plan for the country.
100%. But you did not see a person who has a core set of values, who is willing to argue them loudly, softly, calmly, politely.
Look,
and I thought she had a chance.
I think Brett is very good, but to be fair, I don't think she was given that opportunity. He went in hard on immigration, right? He was given 20 minutes. He was being wound up at the end. He knew he had to hit those 3 things.
He was very clever to point out that it wasn't him who was ending it, it was the staff who were going, that's it, we're done.
Well, the staffer, should have been briefed not to do that. But anyway.
So there's 2 other observations, right, that I think are really important here. One, when you're sitting down for 30 minutes, you have the capacity to end up owning the conversation. So when Bear went in 2 hits really too fast, I think too fast, and sort of tried to pull her up just a little too hard at the start, right? Because literally you can't say, so here's my question, you haven't answered it in 10 seconds, please answer. Come on, that's if you've got 5 minutes, not if you've got 30. But she had the opportunity to say, OK, Brett, I know what the expectation is here, that we're supposed to be fighting, all the rest of it here. Let's just have a conversation. You can ask me whatever you want.
It's a clever strategy.
Straight away, she turns it around. Secondly, and I don't know if we can answer what this is, but there's something in the air, is that there is a great difficulty, and we're seeing this here, about how when men of the right and women of the left confront each other and disagree, how can you do that without seeming too mean or too evasive? How does that conversation
I think he handled
happen?
it pretty well.
I thought he did
because
great.
I thought she was quite evasive. You think he was too hot?
Well, I think the start was too hot, and then she was endlessly evasive because also he knows if I let her get onto I'm a middle class kid and all the rest of it, then she's just going to eat up the time. And we've all done those interviews with politicians who go, "All right, you got 15 minutes." 6 minutes in because you're trying to be polite. So yeah, but that's a TV style thing. She's behind in the polls. The betting markets are now deeply against her. And look, the polls that were wrong 4% one way could be wrong 4%. So please.
So Trump's always undercooked in the polls, about 2 or 3%.
Yeah.
Is it different this election?
So all the pollsters have not really made a big noise about how they have changed their game.
Ooh.
So the way I'm looking at it right now is, look, remember, Georgia, North Carolina, Florida, hundreds of thousands of people don't have a house right now, okay? So whether those people are traditional Republican voters or not, we'll all find out together, all right? However, the polls generally have undercooked Trump in 16 and 20. They actually got it worse in 20 than 16. So that can be anywhere between 2 and 4 points depending on the poll, depending on the state. So if Trump is up in those polls, well, then you've got to imagine that the math is going to work to a better result for him rather than, we have been undercounting Kamala Harris. Again, it all comes down to the clips, and I don't know which of those clips was great for Kamala Harris. Certainly on any question that she was asked, the tenor and tone means basically people who don't want to engage with Fox News but just think it's a Rorschach test, well, they'll view it the way that they do. But I think for anyone who's mildly paying attention to who's the person who looks like they're winning the presidency, I think it's the bloke who was dancing for half an hour.